Hey everyone, I finished watching the next VR Troopers episode. I can't remember the title. Okay, Kaitlin's front page. Not a whole lot to this episode. This one's kind of dull. It starts off with some weird guys at the newspaper talking to Kaitlin. He tells her about there's a secret weapons plant just outside the city. He gives her a map. She goes, she calls Ryan and JB, but they're busy. They can't accompany her, so she goes alone. Then we see the guy that gave her the map report to Grimlord. He was a scug in disguise. And Grimlord has a trap set for Kaitlin. So, let's see. She goes there, she gets ambushed by Scugs, she's in the battle grid, she gets overwhelmed completely, and they strap her to a bomb. Ryan and JB, they agreed to meet her at the newspaper. They go to the newspaper, she's not there. So they're like, okay, let's go to Hart's lab. They have scanners, we can scan for her. So they go to Hart's lab where Jeb is singing along to rap music on the radio and shorting out computers. Whatever, that doesn't amount to anything. They use the lab scanners to locate Kaitlin, and Grimlord is already planning on stopping Kaitlin from being rescued. Ryan and JB get to Kaitlin, but then they have to split up and fight a couple of monsters. They defeat the monsters, they save Kaitlin, and then Kaitlin. It ends with Kaitlin showing the others her big front page story about the secret weapons plant. So, not a whole lot to this one. It's basically just Caitlin's in trouble. Ryan and JB fight monsters. They save Kaitlin. The end. This one is. There's not a lot to this. When I went back to watch VR Troopers, I remembered the early episodes being a bit rough because, like, I'm assuming the creators weren't, used to doing a show like this. I mean, yeah, a show like this is completely different from how you do, like, any typical show. But man, this episode in particular was really rough. Like, it's okay, but man, there is just no originality here. It's just very basic. I think they probably could have had some kind of a theme going on in here, but there really isn't anything going on. And there's not, like, even the clever editing like the last episode where, like, they went out of their way to really make you believe that all these things were occurring at the same time. This was just one show. It wasn't cobbled together from other shows. This really this really feels like it's separate shows all splished together. Splished? Yeah, splished. So, let's see. Notes. Gotta turn my phone back on. It's a really forgettable episode. One of the things that's really annoying is when Ryan and JB are fighting their monsters, there's no clever way they figure out to overcome the obstacles the monsters set. JB especially. He's fighting this snake woman monster who has this like arrow casting machine. He's trying to get up close to hit her, but he can't get past the arrows until he can, and then he kills her. And then Ryan is fighting his monster and just hits it until it's dead. And it's so weird because it feels like in the Japanese version, Spielbahn and Metalder, there probably was some clever way around defeating the monsters, especially JB. But we don't see any of it. They just fight the monsters. It really sucks. Oh, also interesting, when they find Kaitlin, then they split up to fight the monsters, they leave Kaitlin tied up there. They didn't have to. They could have, like, untied her. Like, the monsters are just standing there. It's not like they're gonna go anywhere or anything. I know why. It's because JB's the only one in the fight footage, but I mean, it's not like the editing in this episode is really good anyway. You could have, like, untied her and then spliced in some footage of the girl from Spielbahn and then, like, added a laser off screen. Like, she's like, okay, JB, I'm gonna aim my laser at him. Bang, bang. Or you could have spliced in the stupid airship thing again. Like, they're fighting the monsters, and then Kaitlin has to go in the airship and fight the stock footage air things again for the millionth time. I don't know, maybe even the creators were getting sick of that by this point. One of the weird things I noticed is that when Ryan and JB find Kaitlin, they transform, and Ryan like runs. JB just kind of turns and casually doot 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 doot. And then later on, when the monsters are defeated, they go back to Kaitlin. Let's see, they get her off the thing, and then the bomb goes off, and Ryan's running, Caitlin's running, JB's kind of just briskly walking. So I guess that's why we don't see much of the Spielbahn suits in the American footage, because apparently the actors can't move in them. Whoever's in those suits. It's so weird that I don't know, the Japanese like footage, they don't have any problem moving in the suits. So I don't know what it is exactly why they can't figure out how to move in the suits. Like maybe instead of having it all made of plastic, they probably could have had some spandex colored or like have foam or something. That is what they do in Metal Heroes sometimes. Like, they have a couple of different suits they use for scenes. Like, sometimes they'll have suits with, like, shiny plastic to look like metal, and other times, if it's, like, a big fight scene that requires a lot of movement, they'll have, like, foam parts. And I feel like the American production probably should have just used the foam and not the plastic. I mean, this is at the same time Power Rangers is going on, and the Green Ranger debuted, and they had that foam shield that looked pretty bad. So it's not like they had standards about, oh, it would look too bad to be made of foam or something. I don't think so. I think people would be more forgiving, like if it meant there was more original footage or something. So anyway, Jeb's odd little rapping thing is really out of place and weird, and even weirder, Hart says his rapping is causing the computers to short circuit, which is oddly the exact same joke they made back in Mighty Morphin. Zack teaches Alpha to dance, and Alpha's dancing, and Zordon says that his dancing is short circuiting the monitors at the command center. I don't get it. But apparently one of the Saban people thought that was just a really funny joke and they needed to have it in as many places as possible. Anyway, that's it for this one. Not a whole lot to say. It's a pretty nothing episode. I'm hoping the next one's better. What's the next episode? We got the dog napping. Okay, so I'm guessing it's gonna be about Jeb then? That'll be cool to have a bit more focus on Jeb, I guess. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.